Hi there, grade 12s, and welcome to our last video in this theory prelim prep session, where we are now looking at section C. So we've done section A, we've done section B. Hopefully you've gone through those videos. I know they're a little long, but it's covering everything in 2022, 2023, and 2024, and I believe it's going to play a big role in preparing you for this upcoming theory exam. So the last section now, as I mentioned, is section C, and usually that's just 2 questions, but this is your integrated scenario section. So here you are looking at least 50 marks for this section. Okay, so let's go through what came up in 2022 first. So again, as it implies, it's an integrated scenario, which means they're going to give you a scenario and they can pull any questions based on all the theory work that you've done since grade 10. Let me just put it that way. Okay, so look here. For example, look at the first question, dealing with biometric security. So you have to define biometric security and give 2 advantages. Then explain what this registration process, the one from the scenario. Please, this is just a tip from marking. Answer to the scenario. Okay, answer the question to the scenario. Right. Here they mention why would using your birth date as a password not be a good idea? I mean, really? Okay. 2 guidelines that would constitute a secure password. We should know that by now. Again, do you see this is grade 10 stuff? Your AUP, your acceptable use policy. What are one of the things that you might include in something like that? They bring that in. They bring in the BYOD. You bring your own device. Okay? The advantage of a policy like that. Then, yeah, they're looking at changing a document from a .docs to a PDF. How would you go about doing that? The pieces of information that must be provided by a user when creating an online account. So what will then enable them to log into that account? Folks, usernames, passwords. They ask you also explain what a software suite is. So you must be able to identify or define what a software is, or what is meant by a software suite, and then provide 3 examples of that as well. So yeah, you need to do a little bit of research and actually opening that textbook. Okay. The company also received 1 terabyte of storage on their OneDrive cloud storage. Can you see there again? Cloud storage. Then I know video conferencing was a big thing. So there we see the advantages of video conferencing, how you can protect privacy. Give one example of a video conferencing platform like Skype, Zoom, anything like that. Usually you would see this with a file path. When you see this, those slashes indicate we're now looking at a server on the network. Okay, so that OpticServe01 represents the name of the server where this is located. We know LAN, there's LAN coming up again. What is meant by the term cross-platform? So it's simply that it can be used on different devices. So if you had, in the context of games, a game that was cross-platform, it could be played on a PlayStation and Xbox. That's all that means. Okay, then your types of web pages. They're talking about Office 365 here as well, and Microsoft Outlook. What's the difference? Some employees prefer to use their Google Chrome browser to access their email. Now, if we use Outlook, it will download your email. If you use a browser, your email remains online. Okay, so there are advantages and disadvantages to that. Web-based applications is one that comes up as well. It means that that application is run from the website, okay, or the internet. So just, again, know some examples of that. All right, then working from home, benefits of working from home from the viewpoint of the company. So again, answer to the scenario. Then they talk about entry-level computers. Now, what is an entry-level computer or entry-level laptop or entry-level desktop? That means it is the computer or laptop that it's basically the cheapest in its range. Let me put it that way. Okay, it's going to be that one. So it's not going to have the highest specs. It's not going to be the most powerful. It's actually going to just be the cheapest in that range. Okay, reasons for buying a laptop over a desktop. Then health and well-being. So things like RSI, ergonomics, those type of things come up here as well. Can you see how all these different topics are now coming into one scenario? Another name for a web address that comes up, which is your URL, your Uniform Resource Locator. Here we've got a QR code as well. What is this? What is this? This relates to a monitor. A monitor. Why? Because look there, Samsung 24-inch. How do we measure those inches? Or how do we measure the size of a monitor? In inches diagonally, right? From one corner to another. IPS panel with borderless display. 16 by 9. What does that mean? That's your aspect ratio. 1920. What does that got to do with anything? That is your image quality. You've got your refresh rate as well. And it's got built-in microphone and speakers. So there you go. That's one massive scenario that they had in 2022. Now let's see if the same was done in 2023. Okay, so already specs of the PC and asking you questions on that. What is meant by quad core? Okay, or sorry, they're looking at the term quad core. What is meant by a core? That's an independent processing unit in the processor. Why is the number of cores that a processor has significant? Well, it just enables the processor to execute more instructions concurrently. So they're able to do more at the same time. Why is the screen resolution important? Guys, these are actually like grade 10 and grade 11 questions. Okay? Right. Then, again, comparison between two computers. And they're going to ask you, or they did ask you in this one, questions on that as well. So you can go through that. You've connected all the components to a computer. You plugged in when the computer starts up for the first time. It says non-system disk or hard drive not found, and Windows does not load. What could the issue be? So we're starting to get some troubleshooting questions that are coming up as well. Here's another one, right? More scenarios. Here we're talking about not just RSI or repetitive strain injury, but eye strain as well. Okay. Suggest 2 ways that could indicate that a possible malware infection has taken place in the PC. How would you recover from a malware attack? What is the difference between a patch and then bear in mind as well your update? Your update and a software patch. Passwords, guidelines to create a good password. And in this one they had 2. So this now has to do with the difference between, or comparison between our laser and inkjet printers. Now bear in mind we bring in 3D printers in as well. So that could be something else to look out for in the theory paper. This we know is referring to wireless. The AC refers to what? The spec of that particular wireless speed. So it could be like 82.11 G, which is a particular speed and things like that. Okay. Then obviously in the context of this, it simply means that the printer has the capability to connect wirelessly or print wirelessly as well. Right. Laser significantly more expensive than inkjet. The benefits of laser printers. Which printer would you recommend in the scenario? Talking about power failures, UPS, the difference between a UPS and a generator. Some prac questions as well. There's graphs, things like that, folks. Yeah, closed questions, open questions. Nothing major that I actually see that's difficult here in 2023. Obtaining a legal copy of Microsoft Office. What would be needed for it to be legal? What would be needed? We need a license code, right? An alternative to MS Office would be to use a cloud service. What is meant by cloud-based Office or cloud-based computing? Freeware, shareware, these type of terms. Okay. Wat sê jy so? Okay, I just need to finish recording this quickly. And then lastly, 2024. So again, a scenario. Yeah, we went into a different one that dealt with coding. So now we bring up terms like what an algorithm is. What is it? It's a step-by-step procedure or set of rules used to solve a problem or perform a task. That's going to give you 1 mark. Then you need to give me an example. So things like sorting data, making calculations, things like that. Okay? Cloud storage. Guys, have we seen this come up before? We have. Advantages and disadvantages of cloud storage. Listen, last year's final paper was full of these type of questions. So just prepare yourselves. Then the LAN and the WAN, your blog, why you would update it, what is meant by a domain name and email. So again, based on the scenario, your domain name would be like your www, I think in this case, the codefest2024.com, and then your email address as well. So identifying that. What is the advantage of this method over emails? What did they say? Online form rather than asking everyone to email their details. Well, your online form, it's a lot quicker to do it. You can, it's easier to get feedback. It's faster as well in terms of that. So, yeah. Closed questions, open questions. Have we seen that? Yes. Trojans, viruses, malware. Have we seen that? Yes. Biometric scanning. Yes. Can you see the trend now? Are you starting to see the trend? Right? Blogs, URLs. One possible use for a server. So knowing what a server is, how it works. Here's another one on AI. So please prepare yourselves for that as well. What is e-waste? How can you reduce e-waste? What is the difference between a single user license and a site license? Grade 10 work. I just mentioned that there's single user license. Okay. So netiquette. Grade 12. This is grade 10 theory work. And at the time of recording, I've got grade 12 sitting in front of me here, completing their PAT. So they're listening to me emphasize grade 10 theory work. Right, Google Chrome. What is the difference between a search engine and a web browser? Okay, give examples of them. Provide 2 features that are available on computers to assist with these students. Which ones? Ones that have poor eyesight, not ones that are blind. Okay, so please just know the difference between that. Ergonomics is going to come up. Look at that. Look at that. Right, and then an email, and this has probably got to do with identifying whether this is a legitimate email or not. How would you know? What is artificial intelligence? I mean, look at that. 2 ways in which AI could assist a user or students with their learning. Come on, ChatGPT, right? How does it help you to learn? Then they brought in cryptocurrencies with just 2 questions, just asking you to explain why transacting with Bitcoin is secure by referring to how the blockchain works as well. So you need to know what the blockchain is, you need to know that Bitcoin is an example of a cryptocurrency. Right, and that was section C. So we've looked now at 2022, 2023, and 2024. And guys, this brings our theory prep work to an end. I hope this has been a massive help to you and that it's really going to put you on the road to get the best marks possible for this upcoming prelim. So please don't forget to like and subscribe and also share. Please, there are others out there that need to know this, so share this with them. God bless and good luck for your theory exam.